go. Little run in the 2004 Dodge Neon SRT4. Everywhere. I got to get it up on the rack this weekend. I think I got a wheel bearing, or it's either a wheel bearing, passenger side, or brake indicator sticking. And the tires are so big, when you turn left or right real far, the tires rub on the inner fender. But that's been a thing. Even rolling the fenders won't help because it's the rubbing on the plastic on the inside. So I got the Mickey Thompson ET Streets up front. Probably shouldn't have brought it out looking at these clouds. Looking like it's about to rain, but I need to go down and put some corn fuel in it. It's a 2004 Neon SRT4. Eagle rods, Y-screw pistons, E85 tune, 63 AR50 trim, big turbo. We'll get it on a little bit here. Pulled my daggone. Pulled my shifter off. These Neons have a plastic shifter and you just yank up on them, and I pulled the shifter off. So we'll try that again here in a second. When I first got the car, it had a 62 turbo on it, and it wouldn't start spooling until about 6,000 RPM, so it made it where it really wasn't fun to drive. From 0 RPMs up to about 55 to 58, it was like driving a stock Neon. And then when that turbo hit, it was just ridiculous. And with this 50 trim, it's made it a whole lot funner to drive. Up here and see what traffic's like. And just the noises this car makes, the turbo noises are just so fun. I'm not sure how well you can hear me. I don't have my mic hooked up. Let me roll that window up a little bit. I don't want to, it has working AC, but I don't want to roll the windows up, put the AC on, because then you can't hear it very well. It's got a AGP long manifold, which I think hurts us a little bit. I think it hurts the spool time with that long manifold. When I bought it, it had a tubular manifold, and it had a hood exit exhaust. And the hood exit I just thought was ridiculous. Couldn't drive it in the rain, which you can't really drive it in the rain anyways. Little did I know that I was about to get caught out in the rain. But I didn't want to be in a situation where I was caught out and it started raining and have to drive the car and water going down in the exhaust. Now I know that the heat off of it would burn it off, but I still didn't want it on the car. We swapped it out. The tubular manifold was cracked. It's a Chinesium brand manifold. So we put the AGP long manifold on, and my buddy Eric at Go Fast Goodies made a custom downpipe and exhaust. Or no, I bought it's a catless downpipe, but from the downpipe he built a custom exhaust for us, where it dumps somewhere, like I think between the front seats and the back seats. Right now the boost gauge, or not boost gauge, but the boost controller I think is about 24. I've only got on it hard one time really to see where I was at with the boost. We had an issue when we dynoed it. We tried like 24 to 28 and it was reading, we ended up losing horsepower when we turned it up, and there was a problem with the boost controller itself. It wasn't adjusted internally correct. So we've since, Eric was up at the house one day and we took it apart and put it back together, and I think we fixed that, and right now it's running on about 24 pounds of boost. Somewhere based off the dyno, right around 430 horsepower. So we're hoping turn it up to about 28, 29, maybe 30 pounds next time we put it on the dyno. Hoping to see about 500. It does need to have the head ported. We're going to put a built head and a ported head on it because it was running out of air on the dyno. Obviously, it's the middle of the day. I'm just on the interstate running to the store, so I'm not going to get on it silly on the interstate with traffic. We can actually do a little bit here. This car is just a blast to drive. Fantastic. Because it's a Neon, I don't really trust holding it in the road. I got some guy on a bike coming up past me. I'm not trying to race anybody, or especially not trying to get somebody on a bike to race with the weather about to change. Those bikes scare me. I had one, wrecked it going less than 10 miles an hour, and they terrify me. This car is just so fun to drive. I tell you what's funny is, so my buddy Eric, you can check out his channel, Go Fast Goodies. He don't have a whole lot of videos on there. I've been trying to really get him on there. And he's a Honda guy. Now, well, I say he's a Honda guy. He likes everything. He's got an S2000. He's got a couple Civic hatches. He's got, actually his daily driver is a PT Cruiser. Non-turbo, just the NA PT Cruiser. And he's got an S2000, and he's got a 98, 99 Camaro Z28 that's got a bit of work done to it. And when I got this car, we took it to him, and it was just to get the I was going to have him build a custom exhaust to get rid of that hood exit exhaust, and then we found all the other problems that he fixed. And he's also worked on my wife's car. My wife has a 98 RT with the SRT motor in it, and since then I think he's got to where he likes these cars. Been trying to get him to actually been trying to get him to swap the PT Cruiser. I have a PT GT convertible. It's a parts car. Title's jacked up and the body is junk. I've been trying to kind of elbow him to start swapping the PT Cruiser, but it's his daily driver, and he's got so many other cars that he really just don't want to mess with it. I hope to eventually get him into one, and I personally want a PT GT someday. Come on. Because I like them. Like I said, the one I have, it's a convertible. It's the second convertible one I've owned, but it just it's junk. I got it, traded a Camaro parts car I had for it just to get the I wanted a spare motor. It's got a good motor and automatic transmission. I've got a first gen, not my wife's, but another first gen car that I want to maybe swap eventually. So we're going to run in the store here real quick and pick up a few things. Matter of fact, I'm going to pause this for just a second and show you a little bit of the outside of the car. There's the big tires. Mickey Thompson ET Streets on VMS racing wheels. And they rub on the plastic stuff here. I made those on my Cricket, and I don't like what this weather's doing. Got the XSR wheels on the back, 17s, 15s up front for the big meaty tires. So, yeah, the weather turned real bad real quick. So I do have the windows up now and the air conditioner on, because it's not a torrential downpour right now, but it was a second ago. I've been sitting in this parking lot after I got out of the store just to see what it was going to do. I got to go further down the road, so this time we're just going to talk and take it easy, because these roads can be treacherous in this car. Can't zoom out anymore. These big tires are great traction, and when it's dry, the wet traction is 0. So as long as I take it easy, we'll be okay. Fingers crossed to be okay. So I've talked a little bit about this car, my wife's car. My wife has a 98 Neon RT 5-speed. She is the second owner, and this car has been through a lot. So when she got it, I want to say I had an Iceman cold air intake, which those Icemans are getting to be pretty rare. You can't find them in good shape. Shorty header, exhaust. I'm trying to think of what all it had done to it. I want to say that's probably everything that was done to it when we first got it. And then we've since put BC coilovers. We put front and rear sway bars. It's got spherical. It's got control arms with spherical bushings on it to eliminate a lot of the wheel hop and stuff. We built her car specifically for autocross, and we really haven't had a chance to autocross it since she's had it. It's got a turbo out of, or not a turbo, but it's got the motor out of a 2004, 2005 SRT4. We bought a parts car, pulled out the motor, wiring harness, all that stuff. Transmission is the stock transmission that came out of the car. It's got the 394 final gear drive, first gen transmission. So it's ridiculous when you're on the highway. You know, you're screaming down the road 80 mile an hour at like $5 grand. It's a blast to drive though. It handles ridiculous. I mean, it's like a big go-kart is what it's like. As far as the turbo, it's got a big wheel stock turbo on it. It's called the Enforcer 1. Spools really fast. She's got a RFL blow-off valve, and I'll put a picture up of the car once I get into editing the video and stuff. We have some videos of her car up on the autocross. Her channel is Miss Blue Neon. We haven't done anything with it in a long time. This was prior to the SRT swap. It was back when it was a stock 2.0. Well, it wasn't stock. It had headers, you know, bolt-ons, but the motor and stuff was stock. I gotta watch trying to get on the interstate. Like I said, I gotta take it easy in this car in this rain. But we had some autocross video of it back when it was a bolt-on car before it had the SRT swap. Yeah, this car is kind of all over the place right now. So yeah, she hasn't done much with her channel. I'd like for her to do some more. Just if you search Miss Blue Neon, you'll see her car. I need to get some updated video and pictures of the car up on there. I'm not gonna say I'm hydroplaning, but this car is kind of, like I said, these tires are just absolutely treacherous. I'm hoping to just get down here to the store and maybe the rain will go away, so on the way home I can not do 50 mile an hour on the highway. I may on the way back get on the back roads just so I can go a little bit slower. That's crazy thinking this built car I have to go slower, but this weather is just terrible. They can go around me. I'm not pushing this car. I'm doing 50 right now, and that's tops of where I want to be driving this car in this weather. eventually we're going to put a built ported head on it, because she's got a lot of chatter. She's got valve chatter and stuff. Because it's the, I can't remember. I want to say that the car that we used for a donor for her motor, we bought an entire car, had been wrecked. It had been like slammed and then flipped. The car flipped over. I want to say it had 50,000 miles on it, and I bet since we've had it in her car, I bet there's not 5,000-10,000 miles on it. We've had some heating issues and stuff we had to address and get fixed. Once we actually got everything lined out, it was overheating, and it was a number of things. The housing was bad, or the bolt was stripped on the thermostat housing, so it was letting a little bit leak through. And then we had to cut some holes in the bumper to get some more airflow, because the first gen Neon, where it was non-turbo, it didn't have an intercooler, so it wasn't a big deal. But once we had her car running good, we were having, you know, overheating issues, and getting more airflow to the intercooler fixed a lot of that. I'm going to slow down even a little bit more, because this car is kind of throwing me around a little bit. I don't know if you can even tell on camera, but it's really pulling the front end around, and I don't like it at all. The with this car, I think so. As far as like the suspension setup on this car, it's got stock control arms, no aftermarket bushings or anything. Although I think I'm eventually either going to have a set built with spherical bushings, or I may buy the DCR control arms, the front and rear control arms. I do have Hotchkiss sway bars to put on this, that when I go to put it up on the rack to see what's going on with this wheel bearing or brakes, I'm going to put the Hotchkiss rear, front and rear sway bars on it. It does have Raceland coilovers on it. I mean, they're okay, but from everything I've read, I mean, they are what you get your money for. I think they're probably not ideal, so eventually I'll swap the coilovers over to something a little bit nicer. Maybe some BCs, or, you know, something else. As far as the engine goes, eventually I'd like to put a tubular manifold back on it. Alright, I don't know if we got an accident or what's going on. We got a bunch of cops. I don't know if, yeah, it looks like there's a wreck. So we're going to slow it down a whole lot more to give these guys some room to whatever's going on. Two vehicles, oh yeah, I guess somebody hit a front end. I'm going to get around them. Anyways, eventually probably some nicer coilovers in those front and rear control arms. I'd like to put new bushings all over the car everywhere. As far as the engine is concerned, I'm going to put a built ported head, probably switch back over to a tubular manifold, because the one I have, I still have it. The one that was on the car when I bought it, it's still there, but like I said, it's Chinesium. I don't think it'd be worth even trying to get it fixed. I've got a friend that says he can fix it, but I don't know if it's worth trying to fix it. It's got a ported head, or not a ported head, but a ported intake manifold, aftermarket throttle body. I've never measured the size of the throttle body. I'm assuming it's a modern performance, and it's ported. It's got a ported throttle body to match the ported intake. I don't know that I'm ever going to change the cams. I just don't know that I need it. I know that when we dynoed it, it was running out of air real bad. So, you know, we're going to port the head on it eventually. My friend Tyler, that I go in half with him, renting the garage where I'm going to put this thing up on the lift. He's got all the stuff to port the head, and we've got a couple extra heads, so we're probably going to just do a test. Let him port ahead to do a test on one of the extra heads we have, just to make sure that we know what we're doing and stuff. And then we'll probably pull this head off and port it. Thought I heard sirens. Just looking around, I want to make sure I'm not in anybody's way in this weather and stuff. We're going to go up here and run in Rural King, and then run into Walmart. Anyways, so after we port the head on this thing, again, I don't know if I'm going to switch the manifold out. It depends on what happens once I port the head. If if I'm still having spooling issues, I may put a tubular manifold back on here. And then from there, I think we're going to put a 50 shot of nitrous just on the, I'm not going to put a, this intake was already set up and it already has the holes to put nitrous back in it. But they've been not filled, but they've been capped. I don't think that's how I want to do it. I think when I do it, I just want to spray the intercooler. So I believe that's what we're going to do, is I think we're going to put a 50 shot, just spraying the intercooler. And then I think that's going to be it for this car. As far as performance and stuff wise, eventually I do want to paint it. The paint from a distance looks really good on this car. Like if it's wet and you're looking at it from 15 feet away, you're like, oh man, that's a good looking car. But when you get up on it, I mean, you can tell that just the clear coat's peeling, the paint's faded and stuff. So eventually I'm gonna have it painted just back to the factory red. And then I may change the wheel setup. I don't know. Tell me in the comments what you think. It's got the 15-inch VMSs up front and the 17-inch XXR wheels in the back. I think the black looks good on the red car. I just don't know. Tell me in the comments what you think. Should I leave them alone? Should I do matching 15s in the front and the back? What should I do? I don't know. I think they look okay. I kind of want to do like a burnt bronze. I was in the Marine Corps, and you know, maroon and gold was the Marine Corps colors, and I've kind of thought about doing like when I'm going to paint the car back to the original color, it's going to be red. But after that, I thought about even doing some plasti dip, or even like a wrap into like a Marine Corps maroon collar, and then putting gold wheels on it. I don't overly get into talking about my time in the Marine Corps. Like, I'm not like some veterans and like that's my whole identity. I do like to mention it because I'm proud of being in the Marine Corps, but I don't get into it a whole lot. But I think it's kind of a color scheme I'd like to do on this car. I've got a valve cover at a friend of mine's house, and he's an amazing artist. Knife Hand Customs, I think is his YouTube channel. He just recently started posting on YouTube, and I'll link his page down in the description. But Knife Hand Customs, and he's going to custom airbrush me a valve cover. I've got an extra valve cover that I sent to him, to where eventually when I put the built head in here, we'll put that valve cover on it. I'm not touching it right now because the underhood of this car looks too nice. I'm not touching the valve cover or anything right now until I go to put the built head in it, and we'll do all that then. But other than that, I think it's done. I wanted to put a different stereo system in here, put some aftermarket speakers. It's got a stereo in it, but you can't hear it half the time. One, because the car's loud, and two, I don't think half the speakers are working. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it with this car. I'm shooting for, with the built head and the nitrous on, I think, even since we fixed the boost controller, I think we're probably, if we turn it up, I think I'm probably close to 500 as it is. 500 is the number in this car. Once I get to 500 horsepower, that's it. That's all I care about. And I know that sounds silly, but that's the number that I want. I want to see 500 horsepower of this little Neon, and then after that, I'm done. Just maintenance stuff and things like that. I do need to address the transmission issues. It does have the third gear grind. It'll pop out it pops out a third gear occasionally. Now, when you're downshifting from fourth to third, it likes to grind a lot, and it's got to where even second to third gets a little bit iffy sometimes. I've got the gear extender and the AGP gear extender and the AGP like gear selector. I haven't put them in the car because they're like a band-aid, and I think I'd rather wait till I have either a built transmission or just rebuild this transmission and put them in then when everything's good. Just to help to keep it from happening again. But I just don't know. So we're going to end that part of the video. I may have a little bit more here in a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more on the way home. But yeah, see you in a few.